Hi, everybody. This is Angelo Quinones, and you reach Iron Ministries. Iron Ministries is designed to give you answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. The Bible. Okay, ha biblios. Okay. Now, we come to John 1:1 again for the last time today. And, in our last sessions, we saw some of them anyway. We saw variant readings for this verse. A lot of people don't know that there are variant readings. What do you mean variant readings? There are different readings of this verse. Okay, the most acceptable reading, of course, is Enerche ein halagas, kai halagas, ein prastantean kai halagas, ein what did I say? Okay. Enerche ein halagas, kai halagas, ein prastantean kai theas ein halagas. It is getting late. And we saw that manuscript B and P66 and P75 and the United Bible Society's a Greek edition, along with the Textus Receptus, actually support, and other manuscripts actually support this reading. Okay, 17 Greek words. Okay, 51 Greek letters, 14 or 15 different Greek letters in all. And I say you don't get to the last letter of the Greek alphabet until you reach verse 22. So you have to read the first 22 verses of this book. The book of John, okay, until, you get to the last letter of the Greek alphabet. That's small potatoes. That's not really so important. That's just nostalgia. And then we saw NRK is supported by Ephraimi Rescriptus, known as Manuscript 04, also known as Manuscript C, like in car. But it's been damaged. Obviously, it has been damaged, okay? And so it just has the prepositional phrase. NRK in halagos is supported by manuscript F, actually. It's not D, it's F. And so that supports the first clause, independent clause of the verse. Obviously, there was some damage there. But manuscript L supports a longer reading. NRK in halagas, kai halagas in prastantean, kai ha. Okay? Theas ein halagas. So it does have the article as I close this. Okay, this work was edited by Ruben Swanson, and the forward is by the great Greek scholar Bruce Metzger. And that gives you variant readings of the entire Gospel of John in Greek. So it has, several lines of a verse. Like, for example, I believe like John 14:14 has 17 Greek lines. It's not in English, it's all in Greek. So the training wheels are gone. Okay. So we parsed, okay, also some of this so far, NRK in halagos. We did a little bit of halagos, but anyway. But we did a lot of NRK in, and we saw that N is a prepositional phrase, one of a handful of prepositional phrases like, ek and para and kata and meta and hupa and, all of that stuff, petty, pras and pra, ace, all of that good stuff. And so this can mean in, okay? It can mean in. I believe it could also be translated with on certain occasions, okay? So this is taking a dative case, okay? It's taking a dative case. It's taking it. Just like pros is going to take the accusative case, theon, in John 1:1b. Now, incidentally, theon, just because something is, just because thea is inflected to theon, doesn't mean that theon is greater than theos. That's just construction. It's because, and this is just getting off the track a little bit, and let me just show you like this. Can I show you like this? Let me see. For a second. Yeah. Can I? Yep. Just because theon is theon in John 1:1b doesn't make it greater than than theos in John 1:1c. It's just construction. Is used differently. One is one is in a nominative case construction, and one is in the accusative case construction. Okay, and it's functioning differently in the sentence. The meaning is not different because one is theon and one is theos. Meanings that theon has a club over the head of theos, and is greater. And it means nothing like that at all. So point that to the witnesses, and I'll get into that if the Lord will. But we saw, NRK, we saw that as a prepositional phrase, And we saw that prepositional phrases don't need articles like in Rome. Okay, verse 7, chapter 1 of the book of Romans. Okay, so let's point out to the witnesses. Point that out to the witnesses. And also they're going to try to point out that eternal is not here in the text. Tell them that you don't need the word eternal because, the word ain is showing the continuous subsistence of the Logos. Okay, so you don't need the word eternal here. And my point is that if you have the word eternal here, I will say it like this. It might be limiting the subsistence of the Logos only to eternity, not what was before. I believe that eternity came after the subsistence of Logos because he's the father of it. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. That's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. But I believe that Logos subsisted even before eternity became to be. If he's the father of it, that means he begot it, okay? And so that means that he was before eternity, okay? Now, just because God became the father of who we now know as Jesus the Son, it doesn't mean that Jesus was created or that Logos was created. Okay, Logos and Jesus, are two different titles for the same person. Okay. We all know that Jesus subsisted in the form of God, okay, and that he took upon himself an additional nature, which I call nature 2 or B, the first nature called the essential nature or the original nature of Logos, if you will. I designate it nature A, or you can't say and, nature A or nature 1. Okay, so he has two natures, nature A and nature B, or nature 1 or nature 2. Okay, so this prepositional phrase NRK, and we saw the different pronunciations of some of these Greek letters. Eta is now known as Eta, Omicron is known as Omicron nowadays, but we're not teaching that, guys, please. I mean, you see these YouTube tutorials like they want to force modern pronunciation into the biblical Greek. It's to me, I'm going to say it's like this. It's foolishness. Because you're going to turn cases into other cases and constructions into other constructions. It's just like, having the word beer in the King James, and you hear it on the audio, Jesus touched beer or what? And people are not going to understand what that means. It means it's an old word for stretcher. It's not even the same, spelling. That's the issue of the King James. Okay, great translation, but it's not the end all be all. It's not. It's just an English translation. As great as it is, it doesn't supersede this stuff. Okay, never ever can you put English before the Greek or Hebrew and Aramaic of the Old and New Testaments. Okay, so NRK in beginning, and we saw that this arche is found. I don't know if I said this 55 times in the Greek New Testament. Okay, it is also probably referring to Genesis 1:1, where Moses wrote "Anarche epoiesen hatheas." Okay, it doesn't refer to the rest of it, but I'm just saying it refers to the prepositional phrase there. But I'm just giving you the rest of it. "Anarche epoiesen hatheas tan uranan kai tain gain." In the beginning, God created the heaven. Okay, it says over there, strangely enough, and the earth. Okay, so this is referring to that the eternal subsistence. And I'm going to call it eternal subsistence because it's very hard to talk about these things. The eternal subsistence was before that creation. Let's just put it like that. He continuously, subsisted before the world began. And it's not in a specific point, of eternity that he began to be. We already saw that egeneta, is found 2 times here in this. Panta di autu egeneta, number 1, kai akores autu egeneta, number 2. That the things that were created emerged or became. We don't see that for the Logos at all. And I also point out that it doesn't say NRK en ha angelos. In the beginning was the angel. It will be that construction. It doesn't say NRK en ha huios. In the beginning was the Son. As beautiful as that is, it's not true. It's not here. The Holy Spirit would have told you that he was the Son before the Bethlehem that we find in the Bible. It doesn't say that. It says merely Enarche en ha Logos. By the way, Logos is found excuse me, in the Greek Septuagint when it comes to Psalm 33 verse 6, where he creates. Okay, and then you see another theme, okay, this time revelation, okay, in Jeremiah chapter 1 verses verses 4 and 5 and 9. You see that also in the same verses. Okay, let me see. What do you see? Creation, and you see. Let me see. Ezekiel talks about salvation. Okay, chapter 37. So Revelation, you see it. Okay, as him revealing. Okay, being part of Revelation. You see it anyway in Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 1 verses, I believe, verses 4 and 5 and 9. And then salvation, you see that theme in here, and you see that the Logos actually, has to do with salvation in Ezekiel chapter 37, verses 4 to 6. Okay, so you see those themes anyway. I'm trying to say you see those themes there, and you see them over here. As a matter of fact, repeated actually by another, prophet of God, John. Anyway, so this is part of an introduction. Like I said before, it's part of a hymn. It's part of an introduction, and these themes are going to be carried throughout the gospel. You're going to see that. You're going to see these themes like scatia, darkness. You're going to see phos, that theme carried out. You're going to see that in the gospel. Phos means light, and you're going to see life, zoe. You're going to see that theme running through the thread of redemption, throughout this book. Now let's get into logos. Logos is a wonderful word. It's found 330 times in the New Testament, and it's spelled out lambda, capital lambda. It's kind of nice. Capital lambda, small omicron, gamma, omicron, final sigma. Now, do you see that marker, like something pointing to 7 o'clock, let's say, over the omicron underneath word, sort of in the top middle? That's called an acute marker. It's an acute. It's called acute because that is telling you to raise the pronunciation of that syllable ever so slightly, or whatever the case may be. But it's telling you to raise it, the pitch. Okay, it's called an acute marker. Now, only when you get to the chi, you're going to see the grav. Okay, and that's telling you to do the opposite, to drop the pronunciation, or to drop the pitch. The pronunciation of it's only one syllable there, but that's what it's doing. And that's pointing to 5 o'clock, okay, under the word and. You see it? Those are acute markers. We already saw rough breathing indicators and markers and stuff, whatever you want to call them, and then soft breathing markers like N has. So you already are learning, breathing markers like the soft breathing marker in front of the capital epsilon there, and that's why it's in front of it, because it's capitalized. You shouldn't really put it above it because it might collide with something, a letter or something like that that's written above or whatever in some manuscripts. And you saw the soft breathing marker. You see the soft breathing marker over the alpha, and that's not ha, and you saw the iota subscript already. And the soft breathing marker over the letter eta in the word ain, and so that's very important. Not hain, but ain, and you see ha, not ah, and then you see logos. So you see the acute marker, and acute is a diacritic. And that's just a deal. Let me see the time I have left. I have like 1 minute left. So logos is in the masculine singular form. The paradigm will go something like this: lagos, lagu, lago, lagan. And in the plural, lagoi, lagon, with an omega and a nu, and then lagois and lagus. That's the complete paradigm for logos. That's the paradigm for logos. So this is in the masculine singular nominative form. Nominative case has to do with the case of designation. In other words, this is the subject in a sentence. And incidentally, one of the translators of the committee of the New World Translation didn't even know that what was the subject of the sentence. And I say the subject of the sentence all the way through is logos in John 1:1, A, B, and C. Thank you.